So for my first scenario, we have athlete number one. He is a high school athlete with a baseball and football primary background. So due to that, I'm going to give him 3 days of power work and 2 days of speed work. His warm-ups for speed include arm mechanics, which will be more static, which will help him with arm coordination as well as being extensions of the hips in order to help him drive faster out of his acceleration block. Marches will work more on coordination and position, coordinating the arms with the legs, and then we'll speed it up more with skips for dynamic coordination and force production focuses, such as forward skips, power skips for height and distance, lateral skips, and then we'll move to build up sprints, which will actually potentiate him for the speed sessions. For the speed sessions, I have more of a resisted day and a technique and hill sprint day, I guess you would call it. So for day one, banded resisted high knees. I think these are very well placed for being able to help the athlete find the position that he needs to get to. And then with each banded resisted movement, I paired a sprint with it so we can actually apply what we have learned with the banded resisted movement. So they'll do the first set of the banded resisted high knees, and then they'll rest, and then they'll go into the sprint. And in the sprint, I will probably video it, I will see him go, and then I will apply any corrections that I need to. With that, so we'll move on to the banded resisted skips. These are more focused on force production in the high knees, which are focused on being light and fast off the ground, as well as being pulled into that proper positioning that you want for the sprint. And then we'll go into a resisted sprint itself. That way he can feel the resistance, he can actually feel where he needs to be in that position in order to sprint correctly. Moving into day two, he is a football player, so we are working on the 3-point stance. So we will focus on starting from a three-point stance and moving into a stride out. And then just as we did with the resisted day, we'll go into an actual sprint. So we'll sprint from the 3-point stance. We'll start at 75% on week one for all of our sprints. And then as we progress throughout week to week, we'll actually increase in the intensity. As well as being a baseball athlete, he will work a lot from the lateral starting position. So we will actually stride out from the lateral start, same strategy as we have with a 3-point stance, and then we will actually sprint from the lateral start. And between the rest periods, I actually can give him cues and see how he can actually better those sprints. And at the end, we will work hill sprints at a 7-degree incline. I like the 7-degree incline because it's not steep enough to where they're actually just doing pretty much a step up, but it's also not low enough to where it's just another flat piece of ground. So the focus here is to increase stride frequency instead of length, so they're not overstriding and they can produce more force in the ground over time. Over the course of the next 3 weeks, we are keeping with the same movements. We're increasing rests as well as intensities. So the sprints move from 75 to 80% on both days, as well as increasing rest times with the increase of intensity. So then we'll move to 90% for the sprints with an increased rest time on both days. And then we'll move to full 100% sprints on both days. And now for the power work. The power day one will be focused on lower body. So he will do a power squat, which will be focused on 3 seconds down and exploding up at about a 6 out of 10 RPE. And this will be paired with a box jump to focus on the triple extension movement. From there, he will progress into, we will keep with the power squat with increasing RPEs from 7 out of 10 in week 2 and 3, and then 8 out of 10 RPE in week 4. And the jumps will progress from an unloaded trap bar jump just to increase the eccentric load, into a loaded trap bar jump starting at a 5 out of 10 RPE and a 6 out of 10 RPE on the week 4. I like the trap bar jump because I believe that it actually can. I like the fast dip with it once we cue with it. It helps with eccentric loading as well as power production to the concentric motion. Day 2 is more upper body focused, so he will have, as with the power squat, a power bench press. And we'll go 3 seconds down on the eccentric and it'll be forced to explode up. And since we actually have this data point, we can use a percentage-based loading. This will be paired with a banded plyo push-up. I like it because it forces the athlete to produce more force in the ground to actually get off the ground. The goal of it is to get your hands, to push hard enough to where your hands actually leave the ground. So we'll start with a high assistance band, probably like if you think about it in the weight room, probably a big black band or a green band. And then we'll move into more of a lower assistance band going on to week 2. The percentages on the power bench press will move from 60 to 65 to 70 to 75%. As we move into week 3 and week 4, we will move to med ball work. So we'll start with a med ball chest pass where he's standing against a wall or facing a wall, and he will be passing the ball as hard as he can with a step into the wall, focusing on the concentric only motion. This will be with about 8 to 10 pounds, and then week 4, we'll partner him up with me or with a teammate, and I will be standing over him. He'll be on a bench, and we'll do a med ball bench throw. We'll start with his hands completely extended. He'll catch the ball, bring it down, and then press it back up. It kind of works the same way as the trap bar jump. It allows for an eccentric loading to occur before a powerful concentric movement to activate greater motor units. And then day 3 will be more of a total power-based lift, since it's total body lift. We'll start with a basic broad jump. I'll get him to do 3 broad jumps. He's not doing them consistently. He's jumping out, walking back, and he's trying to get further every single time. Just working on that vertical and horizontal power output. We'll start with a half kneeling med ball lateral toss to isolate the upper body and move into more rotational power, with 4 each side, starting at a lower weight at about 6 to 8 pounds to make sure that he's be able to throw it as hard as he can against the wall. And then we'll move into a band resisted broad jump. Same deal, he's jumping out as far as he can with the band going against him, and then walking back and trying to get further and further every single time. The split stance lateral med ball, we'll move to a split stance lateral med ball toss. He'll be in a split stance and he'll be throwing it against the wall as hard as he possibly can, with the cue of trying to break the wall. Then we'll move to bounding. We'll focus on single leg power output. So he'll start at a certain point and he'll go 8 steps with a goal of 4 reps each leg, trying to go off one leg and land on the other. And then we'll move to a crossover lateral med ball throw. So he'll step 1 over in almost like a karaoke type movement, and then he will throw the ball against the wall as hard as he possibly can. Finally, in week 4, we'll move to a hop and stop movement. So he'll go off and land on the same leg, and he will do that. He'll walk back each time, just trying to get as far as he can with each leg. And then we'll move to a med ball shuffle throw. So now we're actually gaining momentum and trying to throw the ball as hard as he possibly can against the wall with a heavier weight. Week 3 and week 4 actually have a heavier weight with 10 to 12 pounds rather than 8 to 10.